Thanks, Vivek, for that. Stocks, however, still down about 2% today. Well, Lupin is also on the radar on the back of second quarter numbers. The numbers were actually above estimates led by the US business. But there is another significant milestone for the pharma major. It is 10 years since Vinita Gupta took the helm as CEO. Earlier, Ekta caught up with the management of Lupin and started off by asking them about how the launch of Spiriva generic inhaler contributed to the numbers.
It contributed very well. I want to say that both our inline business grew, to a certain extent, but majority of the growth quarter over quarter was driven by our new products, including Spiriva, which was the largest contributor. The product launch has been fairly successful, I would say. The substitution rate that we were expecting, we have started to see that already. So it's been a very well-planned and executed launch.
Okay. Well, just narrowing down a little more on Spiriva generic, how much can we expect it to probably scale up or contribute in the coming quarters? Now, I'm going to give you some estimates and just give me a sense in terms of whether or not these estimates are accurate as per your expectations. $35 to $40 billion in FY24, scaling up to $130 million in FY25, and $150 million in FY26. Do you think that you could probably do better than this? It'll be in line with this, or maybe even below this?
So I'm going to refrain from product-specific guidance, as you know. But I would just say that it is ramping up nicely. We expected that the substitution would be around 25% at the beginning, generic substitution, and then would ramp up to the 35-40% level based on what we have seen with other inhaler products. And that's what we would expect.
Coming to the base business, how did the base business perform, Vinita, this quarter? What was price pressure like? Was it better than previous quarters? What were drug shortages like this quarter? Did that benefit you?
So I'd say that the inline products, the base business was fairly stable, grew marginally based on products where we had opportunity to gain additional share. But I'd say also on the pricing front, the inline product pricing erosion for us was mid-single digit. So fairly stable.
Well, Nilesh, we've spoken about this $200 million US sales many times before. You finally hit that level. What's the expectation for the second half?
I think the expectation, this is more for Vinita, of course, but I think the expectation is to obviously stay at that run rate. We've got some fill that went into Q2 for tiotropium, but, that'll even out with 3 months in this coming quarter. So the goal very clearly is to keep it above that. We want to do everything right? We want to make sure that we get this right. These are important products long term, so we have to get them right. So we're going to scale it up at the right pace, making sure that we can assure product quality and obviously supply the market reliably as well.
Are we working with $200 million on a sustainable basis going forward? This is what Lupin's going to do. That's the base business that they're going to come out with in terms of numbers, and they're just going to build on this $200 million going forward.
I think things will go up and down, but I think there will be offsets. So I think we should be able to do it. And this is also the number at which the overall numbers start working out okay, right? Mm-hmm. So that's when you see that profitability getting back to normalcy. We'll talk about that a little bit as well. But this is an important number for us.
Okay, well, Ramesh, I think 18% margins is going to be an important number for you as well, because you've hit that exit run rate already, which you had guided the markets for. Are you scaling it up now?
Yes, for sure. I think the big story, of course, is the fact that, as Vinita and Nilesh mentioned, it's all about products. You've got the right set of products out there in America and in Europe also, for sure. And I would say into secular growth across various other markets. But we've also got our act right, or getting our act right in terms of a host of other things. It's the execution on, in fact, on the cost front. We went in for workforce planning some time ago. We wanted to rein in a lot of retarders, so to speak, which we have actually done fairly well. We got our act right when it comes to compliance. And there are, of course, some tailwinds in terms of potentially stabilization of prices in America, and looking at, in fact, the input prices as well. It's coming down a bit. So it's actually all of this which is actually put together. But the big story really is the fact that we have got our act right when it comes to products and the like. So margin expansion this particular quarter itself, you've seen about 4.5 percentage points increase from the previous quarter, thanks to, in fact, the gross margin increase reining in of, in fact, the employee benefit costs, the manufacturing, the operating leverage that clicked in. There's, of course, the factor leading to PLI and the like. So all of this really helped.
So are you going to do 20% by the end of FY24?
It's wait and watch for sure. Things are going on fairly well, but certainly we would expect things to be better in the quarters to come as well.
Leave us with what maybe the second half of FY24 looks like, the FY24 guidance for what Lupin might achieve.
Yeah. So, Vinita and I are really here for the long term. So when you say, 600 going to 1200, we are thinking 2100 coming down to 1200, right? That's the peak that Lupin had. So that's the room for growth that we see. And that's not going to happen in the next 6 months, but that's going to happen in the longer term. From our perspective, I think, the US was the one business that required a turnaround, and we've turned it around with the right kind of products. I think we've always talked about complex generics. Complex generics are now operating at scale in the US for us. Inhalation is operating at scale. It's becoming the biggest therapy area for us in the US. It's rapidly becoming it's probably already the biggest therapy area for Lupin overall. So I think, everything else was on a strong double-digit growth. India went through this period of challenges on exclusivities and the like, but that's largely behind us. We're back to 30% ahead of market growth, so that has to continue. The US, we talked about the $200 million number. We stay north of that, and we get more of a complex generic pipeline that will come in, right? So there's obviously a bunch of inhalation products. We have injectables that we've not even started that story yet, and then eventually biosimilars as well. So lots of room to grow. We don't want to lose sight of, sustainability in that. So I think whatever makes the business sticky, specialty at some point of time has to come back. But right now, I think we need to maximize this to industry average levels and then get ahead of that.
That's the top management of Lupin. Strong numbers reported this time. We'll get into a break on the